Hello and welcome to another Ginger Below, the show in which my wife sends me to the basement because I've been a bad boy, and the only way in order for me to entertain myself is by entertaining all of you. First and foremost, my apologies for the technical issues. I am running a shitty old computer, and that's just that, right? That's the way it works. So, yeah, thanks for joining. If you could, please leave a like on the video. Likes always help. They help the algorithm. They help people knowing that there's a party going on in here. So that's always good. And don't be afraid to chat as well in the chat if you have any questions or whatnot. Yeah, you can always do that too. So what we're doing today, we are reviewing or talking about a movie, the movie Clue. Now, Clue is one of my good friends, one of his favorite movies. So I decided to have him on the show. Good guy here, Steven. So we're gonna bring Steven on the show here. There he is, Steven. How you doing, man? I'm living the dream, man. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for being on the show. Aw, oh, right there in the heart. Were you at all surprised when I asked you to come here to talk about Clue? That's the best way to do this. When you have no preparation, you just go for it. So to start off, everybody hearing us? Any audio issues? Can you hear both of us? It'd be great if you could tell us. If you want to chat maybe and say, I can hear you, Kevin. Holy cow. Uh-oh. Spaghetti-o. All right, let me go fix that. This is why it would help if I could do all this stuff before we actually start the stream. But it has to be live for us to actually look at this, be able to fix any issues, which kind of sucks. Can you try talking again? Could you hear that? Can't hear Steven still, Laura? Good thing they can't hear you. How about now? Can you hear him now? Laura? Yes, no, maybe so.
Hello, Marco.
Marco Polo. She's giving up on us. I can't say that I blame her. Now I can. All right, cool. All right, so what Steven was saying, sorry for that. Sorry for the technical difficulties. What Steven was saying was that it's an honor for him to be here, and that
Exactly it.
it's quite frankly the greatest privilege that he's ever been afforded in his life.
Yep. Word for word.
Word for word. Sorry, there's a delay. Oh, it's okay. No worries. Yeah, we are like 10 seconds in the future right now. So
Maybe we should have been doing Back to the Future instead.
maybe we should have, which is another movie that you like a lot, which maybe we'll do at another time. But yeah, for sure. And actually, Clue just kind of there's a little bit of Back to the Future in Clue, but we'll get to that. So yeah, so Steven loves Clue. So I finally decided we're gonna do Clue. So first and foremost, I have never seen Clue until now.
I find that a little amazing, actually.
I do too. Well, see, this is the thing. For me, movies, I've never seen a good board game movie. Okay, let's start with that. There's no good board game movies. Okay, is Jumanji actually a real board game?
It is now, but it wasn't before.
Okay, so we can't count
But
that.
I don't think that counts.
Because I would have put that in there, but I can't count it now. I would have said Jumanji wasn't bad. Okay, but like there's garbage like Battleship and shit like that. Did they do a Monopoly movie yet?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Uh, okay, so board games, BORED, board games make bored movies. So, which is probably why I never wanted to see this movie. But I mean, you always talk very highly of it, and I had the board game when I was a kid. So I was like,
Didn't we
well,
all?
we do exactly. Actually, I remember I got mine. I didn't get mine. Mine was missing pieces because we got it secondhand, and it was missing some of the items. Like, I was on with the rope and the wrench or whichever. Some of them were missing anyway. So murder night was always like it was like two things you could kill with. It wasn't the same thing. But yeah. Anyways, but yes. So we did have the game, part of it anyway. So Stephen, before we get into the nitty gritty of the movie, um, actually something, yeah. So I know you well. I know the movies you like. I know you like Back to the Future. I know you like Clue. I know you like Stephen King. I know you like Tim Curry. So when I watch Clue, I can actually be like, holy shit, okay, yeah, this makes sense why he likes this because these are all people that he really likes. And
Yeah.
they're all in this movie. So it makes sense to me. So tell me a little bit about your fascination with the movie, a little bit about your childhood watching the movie, and how many times have you seen the movie? Or thing. Sell me the movie.
Well, so the movie came out in 1985. I would have been 2 years old at the time. I first saw it, and I'm sure you might remember this. Actually, here's a question for you. Do you remember what the movie network was called before it was the movie network?
Wasn't it always T? Wasn't it TNN?
No, First Choice.
First Choice, yes. Channel 27
So,
on the hot box. My grandparents had the hot box.
so
I
this
actually
is
watched the hot box.
I have weird memories. Like my memories are the ones that I have when I'm younger are very vivid and specific. And my first introduction to this movie was through my brother. And all I remember is, so it likely would have been 1986, 1987 by the time it aired on First Choice. Because back then, for you kids watching, it took a long time before a movie was able to be available on demand. So for us, we had to wait. And
It's true.
I just remember it was the morning and it was before school. And my brother was talking about a movie that he had just recorded the night before. He hadn't watched it yet, but it was a movie that had 3 different endings. And that just blew my mind. I would have been like 3, 4 years old. And that was just, how do you do that? How do you have 3 different endings? And that's one of the earliest memories I have, period. But that's my first memory of the movie Clue. So I would have watched it back then, probably within a few days of that or that weekend. Then became a little obsessed.
So, if I can just interject for a second, for those of you who've never seen a movie or haven't heard about what it is or how it worked, when it was in the theaters, you had 3 different endings. So when you went to go see in the theater, you didn't know what ending you were going to see. So each different ending had a different. One of the people that was in the group, one of them was a killer. So it was somebody different every time. So if you went to go watch a movie a few times, you might see different endings. You might see the same ending 3 times. Who knows? But you could possibly see one of 3 endings, which was revolutionary at the time. Subsequently, when it was released on DVD later on, and I don't know if VHS had all 3 endings on it. I can't remember, did it? So they did kind of like a montage where it could have ended this way, show you one of the endings, or maybe it ended this way, other ending, and maybe it ended this way, the other ending. But in theaters, you actually had 3 different endings. You didn't see all 3 during one showing, and you could basically see anything, which could lead to fighting amongst families. A lot of families fought over this, I'm sure. Like a lot of things.
There were
movies were
wars
ruined.
started.
There were wars
Actual
started.
wars. Probably somewhere, in Europe, I'm guessing. But yeah, so I I started getting obsessed with it, but at that time, I already knew the board game. Even though I was probably too young to be playing board games at 3 years old, I knew what Clue was. I knew what Monopoly was. I knew what Battleship was. Like,
Yeah.
we would play those. So that interested me. As a kid, it wasn't the stuff that you talked about, like the cast. The cast is absolutely amazing. As an adult, that's what I enjoy. I enjoy that. I enjoy a lot of the humor that it didn't get back then is what I enjoy now. But back then there's just something about murder mysteries that have always just fascinated me. Super young. I don't know why. I'm a demented person probably. But I love that kind of stuff. And like I said, I quickly became obsessed to the point where every week or two, we would go rent movies. And we would go to the good midnight video. And if you remember, the one on Champlain Street was the shitty one.
Yes.
But the one in Shediac Road, where McBun's Bakery is, that was the good midnight video in Moncton. So we would go there, and I would typically come back with one of 3 movies. Back to the Future, Princess Bride, or Clue. That was it. So every couple of weeks, I would annoy the crap out of my mother and my brother by watching one of those 3 movies. For fun, I did some quick math with you the other day, and on average, if I've watched the movie 4 times a year, which is very plausible, especially when I was younger, I would have seen the movie about 140 times.
See, that's crazy to me. Well, look, okay, crazy, super crazy, I guess. I mean, I've seen certain movies a lot of times too, but yeah, you know what? No, it's not that crazy. I used to go rent Jaws of Revenge all the time, so I kind of know what you're talking about. At the same
to be
video.
fair, a lot of it was when we were kids. Like it was possible. Like, you have kids, you know, they like to watch the same stuff over and over again. I was the same way, so I could rent Clue 3-4 weeks in a row, and I would watch it 2-3 times. As I've grown older, I've enjoyed different parts of it. Tim Curry, for example, start seeing him in other things. Martin Mull, start seeing him in other things. I'm a huge fan of Mel Brooks movies, so Madeline Kahn, a lot of things. Michael McKean from Spinal Tap. So there's a lot of that stuff, right? As an adult, I enjoy it for a lot of different reasons than I did as a kid. But I would absolutely tell you it's one of my favorite movies.
Well, it's a great movie, and when I started watching it, and they get to the house, and then he's giving the names coming in, and I'm like, oh God, the mustard, the white, oh, come on, please don't do this to me. But you know what? It was actually it worked well. It really it's surprising how well it works. It's the cast, definitely, and I know wasn't John Landis an executive producer on this?
He was the original director, but then he left to do, I think, Spies Like Us, the Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase movie.
Was this before or after?
I think they
this was
both
after
gone.
Twilight Zone, though, right? Because he got in the hot water for Twilight Zone, went away for a while.
Yeah, because I think Twilight Zone was 81 or 82.
Yeah, I think it was 82. So yeah, so you're naming all these actors in the movie, and there's a ton of great actors in the movie. It's funny though. I was watching it, and I literally like went like, oh, at one part, because I was like, holy shit! Now this shit got real. Before the movie was okay, you know, these actors like Tim Curry, whatever, you know, was it Christopher Lloyd, like whatever, you know. Then fucking Jeffrey Kramer arrives at the door. Holy shit! It's fucking Deputy Hendricks from Jaws. I was like, ah! So yeah, so that's when the movie became real for me. So automatically, I was a fan. That's what did it for me.
Yeah,
like,
there you go.
Jesus Christ, it's fucking
That's all you needed.
Deputy Hendricks, man. Looking fuck good. Let the guy make a phone call.
Why'd they have to kill him?
Exactly. Why would you have to kill him? But yeah, but no, the cast is amazing. Tim Curry's amazing. I mean, he's literally 90% of the movie.
He carries that movie, but as a Tim Curry fan, when you watch a lot of his stuff, he carries most of what he does. He's just really good at what he does.
Yeah, because Rocky Horror Picture Show was probably like the big movie for him.
Yeah.
And then for today's generation, horror movies being big and all that again, like people, he basically was a Pennywise in the original It movie. So yeah, it's weird too because I only found out he was Pennywise like years later.
Really?
Oh yeah. So now when I look at him, I get kind of it's a little creepy because you see the mouth and the dimples. You're like, oh shit, man.
So he's the reason why I watched it when I was younger,
Exactly.
because I knew he's Tim Curry.
Well, that's why
I wanted to watch this movie.
That's why I said I can see the parallels now because he's there, and then naturally Back to the Future. Is that your favorite movie, or is Clue your favorite movie?
It's hard. Like I have a hard time with my favorite because it'll depend on my mood sometimes. I would go between Clue and Back to the Future, but it'll depend on how I'm feeling at the time, or maybe even just whichever one I've seen more recently is probably whichever one I'm missing. The only thing is I don't know which one of those two I watched first. I can't remember if I knew Christopher Lloyd from Clue.
Okay, then he was
Doc.
So was Doc before he was.
Both movies were from 1985. So both movies would have come out on VHS or First Choice
same time.
Around the same time. And weirdly, he's a doctor in both, and in both they're in the 1950s.
He's more pervert in this, but yeah, he's a doctor in both.
Well, I mean,
so you would have had
me at
You would have had me at French Maid. If you would have said there was a French Maid in this movie, you would have had me right there. I would have watched it. But
so next time, okay.
I digress. But yes, French Maid, Jaws. That's all I had to say. And I was like, okay, I'm in. I'll watch this. And Laura just commented Home Alone 2. Yeah, he's the bellhop, right, in Home Alone 2.
He is my absolute favorite part of Home Alone 2. The scene when Catherine O'Hara starts yelling at him and slaps him, and his eyes start to water and his lips starts to quiver. I lose it every time.
He's a fantastic actor, though.
And Tim Curry has gone on record to say that of all of his movies that he's done, Clue is his favorite.
Cool. That's nice. By the way, guys, the stream is brought to you by Gatorade Zero. They're sponsors.
And Freddy
Krueger. So both of them are paying us royalties. If this gets picked up by the algorithm, man, this thing's getting demonetized.
I can make it worse. Brought to you by the Handbook for the Recently Deceased.
Ooh! Ghostbusters?
Beetlejuice.
Sorry, yes, Beetlejuice. That's right. So, guys, if you're watching, be sure to throw a like in there, because it does help the algorithm of the video, helps the video get people find it, which is always good. Because if people don't find it, then who are we talking to? Okay.
Let's entertain ourselves.
Yes, really. Well, that's what I do this for, right? I'm stuck in this basement right now. Like Amy said, you're going down there. Don't come back up for an hour, or I'm getting a divorce. So here I am. It's the way I work. So I just came down. Actually, and you know what? I'm going to say something else right now because I see it in the comments and I see it on you now. You are the only person that I know personally, and this is whether I've seen them in person, whether I've seen them in a video, a picture, anywheres, that has a Clue shirt. You are wearing a Clue shirt. You have 3 Clue shirts, which is...
Yeah, so I have this one, which is more abstract,
but awesome.
More about the board game.
I like that.
I
like that one.
I have one which is one of the movie posters, just the front of the shirt. And I have one which is a silhouette of Tim Curry, Wadsworth, in the movie holding a knife, and it says "Run down the hall," which is one of the lines from the movie when he's reenacting all the murders, trying to explain to everyone.
Nice, very cool. I like it. I like that shirt. It's very nice. So 140 times you've seen the movie.
I mean that's quick math, but again, like a lot of times I say I put the movie on, but a lot of times, especially like as an adult, it's in the kitchen doing something, or I just
On
want
your
to have
phone.
some noise. So I will put the movie on.
Yeah.
Or like we were having a conversation yesterday about, things you do to decompress when you're feeling stressed or all that. A lot of times for me, it's just putting on, like you had talked about, putting on that mindless stuff. And that,
My
for me,
in-laws
is
on
true.
video.
Not Police Academy.
Oh, yeah. I have to talk about that after, but remind me.
You could put something like that on that you've seen, you know where all the plot points are, where all the jokes are. I can just be on my phone and then look up for 5-10 minutes and then look back on my phone, and because I know the movie, I'm not really missing anything, but it's just helping me decompress.
Yeah,
So
you unwind with it, basically.
yeah, I've seen it. I say I've seen it 140 times, but have I actually sat down and watched the entire movie from start to finish? Probably not.
So you use it as ambiance, as background noise, kind of to. I do that too for certain movies. I do that. Yeah, I do that for certain movies. I do that for like weather stuff too, like rain and that. I decompress with listening to that stuff a lot. So I kind of know where you're coming from. For the whole, just to throw this officially, I do not like my in-laws. But to make that clear, in case any one of them are watching right now, I love you all. The Police Academy story, though, is interesting because my father-in-law has a what would you even call that? Weirdness, I guess, about him. Something that I had never heard of before. So when it happened, I was like, holy shit. Like, I gotta Google this shit. Because even if you Google, you're gonna find somebody else, right? It's never just the one person. Like, you can find somebody who's like, there's like, oh, I've got 4 heads, let's Google it. And like, there's at least 5 other people that have 4 other heads. So we were watching Police Academy 1, and I keep teasing him, my father-in-law. I'm like, you have to come over and watch Police Academy 2, and I'll film it. I'll film you watching it. Because, so he comes over, he sits down, and it's that scene where the dog is humping the leg of, I can't remember who it was. Was it the captain?
Mauler? Or
I think wasn't it Commandant Lassard?
Lassard.
Yeah.
Lassard.
So this little dog's humping his leg, which, I mean, we've seen that a zillion times over the years, right? To me, I'm not gonna laugh at something like that, but he just found it hilarious. So he's just laughing like, ha 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 ha, and the next thing you know, silence. I'm like, just like, I'm like, what the fuck? I turn around, he's passed out. He laughs and then fucking passes out. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, dude. Then he wakes up. Oh, what? I'm like, you just passed out. He's like, yeah, sometimes that happens. If I laugh too hard, I pass out. What? So I Google it. It's this thing. Some people, they just laugh too hard, they pass out. So he's one of those people. I just found it really funny. I never heard or seen that before in my life. Somebody
now, I've never passed out, but I've laughed so hard that I've started seeing spots.
Okay.
But I've never gone that far.
That'd be close. And he's just sitting the same way, exact same way, arms are just down and just like, I was like, holy shit. Anyways, so yeah. So I'm really looking forward to watching Police Academy too.
Said no one ever.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that. The first few Police Academies aren't horrible.
I like the Police Academies all the way up till Miami Beach.
After that was number 4?
That was, no, 4 was Citizens on Patrol. 5.
5, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Like somewhere 4 or 5 is usually, like when I was a kid, is where we would kind of stop. I think I saw the Moscow one once.
Yeah, me too. I didn't like anything after that. I didn't like. I mean, and a lot of people will say 5 sucks too. Don't get me wrong, but there's a shark in it, so it gets a pass. That's the one where Tackleberry like puts the gun to the shark's face, the little tiger shark that comes up, and then he turns around and he swims away. So I was like, oh, if there's a shark in it, I gotta watch
so they
it.
If they put a shark in Clue, you would have just absolutely loved it.
They put the fucking deputy in it. Like, I'm sold. I'm sold. The only reason why I watched the 3rd Harry Potter too. My buddy's like, hey Kev, there's a shark in this movie. I'm like, let's go see it.
For all of what, 4 minutes?
Watch the first Harry Potter. Didn't watch the second one. Didn't care. There's a shark in this one. Watch the third. That's it. I'm done. But yeah, so I saw 1 and 3. I wouldn't even have seen 3 if it wasn't for the shark. But there's a shark in there, so I had to see it. Oh man, my tastes are so weird. Jolene writes in, Stephen converts everyone he can, and to be fair, he is right. It's so good. So Stephen, are you a clue converter? Do you convert people to the clue?
I think I did with you. But yeah, mostly because I force people to watch it, whether they like it or not. If you're at my house, there's a good chance you're going to watch Clue.
You had no choice. No choice on the matter. So I'm going to ask you a few questions about the movie quickly here. So the endings go so quickly when he's explaining it. So when you're watching the movie, because I've only seen it once, I didn't really pay attention to every little detail going through the movie. So can you figure out who the murderer was? Like, have you been able to figure it out by watching the rest of it before you get to the end?
No.
No. Okay.
So they filmed it in a way. So again, you've only seen it once, so I don't know if you remember. There's a part where Wadsworth is explaining everything, and he goes and he turns off the electricity, and the screen goes black.
Yes.
That is the cutoff moment where all of the endings were spliced in. So when you were going to see it in the theater, that's where they would splice in ending A, B, or C. So the first, 80 minutes of the movie or however many is the same no matter what the ending is. And then it's just the ending that changes. But what you'll notice if you ever watch it again is there's certain scenes that if you pay attention to the background, there's characters missing.
Well, that's what I mean.
These are the characters that he's saying they weren't in this room. They weren't in this room. So the first time you watch it, you don't notice that because there's such a big cast. There's so many people that you don't really notice that person A is not in this room. But when he says it, and then the next time you watch it, you remember that, you're looking in the background like, holy shit, they're not there.
So there is a huge rewatch value to the movie because of those things. Yeah, that's what I meant. Like when I asked the question, that's what I was thinking. Is there any scenes where they're not in there? But if they're purposely removing people from different scenes, well, then it doesn't really give you any more of an advantage of knowing who it is, right?
No.
Yeah, it's smart. It's smart the way they did that.
Yeah, it was a gimmick that Jonathan Lynn, who's the one who directed it, he went for it and it failed. He thought having 3 different endings would be something that would just catch on and then everyone would want to do it. No one has done it since because the movie bombed big time.
Which is weird because today it's like, if you look at it even on IMDb, it's got like a 73%.
Basically, as soon as the movie went out on VHS, it caught new life. But we were in that time period. You're roughly the same age as me as that home video market, right? We're
a lot younger than you.
Right. But the home video market was booming back then.
Yes.
And word of mouth caught on. People would rent it, and it got a huge life. And then it started playing on like cable TV and all that, and DVDs, and there's been documentaries about it.
So it was saved by the aftermarket. A few movies are like that. Like a lot of the horror movies in the 80s, the ones that are playing like the Grindhouse and all that, got a lot of extra life after the fact. Some of them have been more successful when they actually got out.
Not always the box office. It's the afterlife.
Well, no. And then back then, like just like you said, renting a movie, like you couldn't buy a movie back then. There was like $300, $400 to buy a VHS tape, which is insane.
Yeah, I got for Christmas one year Ghostbusters, but it wasn't actually Ghostbusters. My uncle had rented Ghostbusters. And back in the day when you had VCRs, you could set them up together. And that's what he did. He recorded me, so I had like an old, whatever.
Did that. If you doubled it, it was a security feature where it would go dark, then really normal light, and dark, then normal light. VHS and VHS would do that for me anyway, the ones that I had. tried to copy in case I needed a backup of the one I really bought, but it would do that. Beta to VHS would usually work normal, but you got to find that tape. Check
Oh,
out.
and maybe it was because this would have been back at that time too. Maybe he did through beta. I don't remember. I know I had a VHS of it. But,
Yeah.
But that's the thing, because movies were $300. No one owned movies back then.
Although, I can remember when the Nightmare on Elm Streets came out and you could actually buy them on video. It was like a huge deal for like $20. I was like, holy shit, $20? Like, fuck, I rent this for 10.
That's cheap.
Well, especially if you watch a movie like so many times, like it was crazy. One of my buddies once, he rented powder, left it in his car, it melted. He went back to bring it to Ambassador Video, and they charged him on his account $230 for powder.
Was it my brother who charged him?
Probably.
Probably was.
Probably. That's the kind of guy he is. You're gonna pay for powder. Lightning doesn't hit twice, boy.
Have to pay that for powder? Wow, that's
I know. Well, then powder came out like direct to video, like you could actually buy it, like maybe like 3-4 months later, and he was like, "Well, can I just buy it here and give it to you?" No, that's not what it costs us to replace it. Powder. So look at questions here. Missy Legere says, laugh out loud. Hot Blooded says, the stream is giving me a raging clue. Ooh, sounds sexy. I'm going to give it that. Alright, let me just check something here. So, if you were to do a reboot of Clue,
which is apparently happening.
Of Clue?
Yep.
I'm ahead of the game?
Yep, you are.
Fucking clairvoyant, man. I knew it.
Ryan Reynolds is attached to. I don't know if he's just producing or starring, but Ryan Reynolds is attached.
He's fucking attached to everything.
And the guys who wrote Deadpool.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's forget about that. That never happened. Isn't happening. There's no Ryan Reynolds. If you were to release Clue again, you're doing a reboot. You're the director. Who are you picking for the 6 individuals and the butler? We'll go with. Who are the most important people of the cast, other than the guy from Jaws?
Now, one of those people I don't know you could replace. I don't know you could replace Mrs. White. She was absolutely perfect. She would probably be the hardest one to recast. Man, I'm trying to think. I think someone.
I just banned someone from the chat. Oh, I love it. All right, keep
Really?
going. Bots. The bots are here. The shills. The shills. All right, keep going. Sorry.
So I think someone like Ryan Reynolds probably could do good in a role like that. I wouldn't have him as the butler though. He would be good in like a because Mr. Green in this movie is playing the straight man who is also the slapstick comedy. So he's trying to be the straight man, but he's the one who keeps getting into weird situations.
Yes.
And I think that would suit him well. A guy like... I'm trying to think, man.
By the way, Laura just chimed in and said
Like
Emily Blunt. I'm gonna
oh yeah,
throw that out there for you.
she would do good in what.
If you want to cast, you don't have to cast her. Okay, you don't have to. I'm just a messenger here.
She would probably do. She'd do really good in the Miss Scarlet role. I could see that. Steve Carell would probably do pretty good in something like this.
Yes.
In
yes.
like an ensemble type thing.
Yeah, because he's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I just keep thinking of him in The Big Short. She was just so good in that movie.
I'm just trying to think of like people who have good comedic timing. Now I'm blanking.
How many pennies
What
can
was
I
I trying
get
to
for
think of
candy?
that?
How can I get?
Give me ideas, people.
Give him ideas. Vacation writes, Clue or Clueless, your friendly neighborhood Metro Man. Pennies for candy. How much can I get? One of my good buddies, Dan, for sure, because I used to go to a store when I was a kid and literally just drop a shit ton of pennies on the counter and be like, how many candies can I get? That he would have to count them out.
You're one of those.
And he hated it. But I love him for it. I don't personally I don't know who I would cast for. I mean, who's the butler? Because to me the butler's the
You need
main
someone.
character. He ties everything together.
Yeah,
Like he's the
you
man.
need someone who can film, and like he's very manic
Yes.
in that role. He needs to be very excitable because he runs around quite a bit. Yeah, like he would be tough to cast, but like I said, Madeline Kahn, who played Mrs. White, I don't know that anyone could do that role. Like that whole scene of her when she's talking about flames on the side of her face, that was all her. That wasn't in the script. That was her. She just came up with that and they went with it. I'm a big Mel Brooks fan, and she's done quite a few stuff with Mel Brooks. She's just awesome. No, sorry, not her. It was Miss Scarlet, who was originally cast as Carrie Fisher.
Okay.
So Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia, was going to be in this movie. And then about a week before shooting started, she decided to go to rehab for her cocaine problem.
Well, good on her.
So, yeah. So Princess Leia could have been in this movie. Maybe now Brian will watch it.
Give me a sec. We have another shill in the chat here. Love face. Can you stop spamming with your fucking blah blah blah? Oh my god. Someday I'll have admins. Laura says Christopher Waltz as the butler.
Actually, he would do pretty good. He may not be as manic, but he would be a lot creepier, especially when he starts explaining everything. He would be creepy. And then you would know that he did it. Even if he didn't, you would know he did it.
You would definitely imply that you would imply to yourself that he did do it.
Yeah.
Although he didn't do it. Well, there is a fourth ending too, right? The movie.
Yes.
That wasn't filmed.
It was filmed, and they put it out for test audiences, and it was just way too dark, so they decided to get rid of it. It's never been on any DVDs. No one's ever seen it outside of like the production and the test audiences. They included it there was a novelization of Clue, which I've never read, which I'd like to.
A book about a board game.
Exactly. But that ending that's where everyone knows the ending from, because they wrote it out into the novel.
Okay.
So in that ending, this is not spoilers because no one's ever going to see it. Wadsworth poisons everyone. So He gets them to commit a bunch of murders to kill off all these people. And then he reveals to them that they've been drinking poison all night and they're going to die. But then Howard Hessman, the cop at the end of the movie, basically comes in and punches Wadsworth and arrests him. But I'm assuming the other people still die because they were poisoned and it's 1950 something.
Well, you see, that's something interesting too, because the poison angle kind of comes up when the woman's having a drink and he talk about it could be poison and she drops it. So it's possible they could have, in putting that in there, like, wouldn't completely not make sense because it was actually referred to earlier during the movie. And also that guy, the captain guy. That's another thing, by the way.
Howard Hessman.
I know that you are a huge fan of Billy Connolly.
Yeah.
Wasn't that guy the original guy in Head of the Class?
Yeah. So Billy
That's what I thought.
Connolly replaced Howard Hessman.
Yes.
Howard Hessman, also from WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yes. It's interesting. I saw that. I'm like, holy shit! Like everything about this movie is Steven. Everything about the movie is you. It's funny. But yeah, I saw him
Now, if
again.
only they could have had Billy Connolly in the movie.
Well, yes, that would have been cool. Action figure experts writes in, hello, hello, hello. What's up? What's going on, you guys? How you doing tonight? We are doing fine. We are chilling like villains on penicillin. Yeah.
I know I'm allergic to penicillin.
I'm allergic to penicillin actually. I'll still chill on it though, if it's if it's what it takes. Ah. So we don't have a butler. All right. Our crew doesn't have a butler. I feel kind of bad, but it's weird because you think about it, you're like, Tim Curry did such a good job. Like I'm like, who can I? And you always say that. You always look back at a movie and you're like, well, who can do this? And people did this with Batman. I remember this when they casted. Oh my God.
Keaton?
Yes. No, not Keaton. Sorry. When they did the Joker. When they casted Heath Ledger.
Oh, yeah.
And they were all like, you can't be the Joker. Only Jack Nicholson can be the Joker. You can't be the Joker. And you'd hear
I was
that.
one of those people.
That's you. You were the guy. You started that.
Yeah.
And then you see his performance, like, holy shit, he did a good job. And then you're like, hey, nobody can be Joker now, just him, just him. And then later on, here we go, another Batman movie, another Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, and people are like, oh, no, I'm Heath Ledger, Heath Ledger, Heath Ledger, Heath Ledger, Heath Ledger, Ledge, Ledge, Ledge. And then he comes in like, holy shit, this guy's a good Joker. Like, you think you can't picture anybody else, but then somebody else comes along, and you're like, holy shit. But and then you do get the shitty Joker like Jared Leto, and like, I told you. But yeah. So maybe it's one of those circumstances where we're thinking it can't be done again, but it may be able to be done again.
It would have to be, and your Joker example is really good because you go from Jack Nicholson to Heath Ledger to Joaquin Phoenix. They all did it very, very differently.
Yes.
They weren't trying to. Heath Ledger wasn't trying to be Jack Nicholson. Joaquin Phoenix wasn't trying to be either one of the two before him. He was doing something different. And in a movie like this, that's exactly what you would have to do. Whether or not you're a fan of the movie, some of these actors, especially in comedy, are iconic. Michael McKean's an iconic comedic actor. Martin Mull is, Tim Curry. Like, these people are iconic in comedy. So if you're going to come in and do that, maybe don't do it the exact same way. You're going to have to do something different. Otherwise, you're just going to be compared to that person. And if you're trying to compare yourself to someone who is regarded so highly, chances are you're going to suck.
It's true. Actually, you say that, and I'm thinking about something right now. Could Keaton be the butler?
Keaton?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
I'm thinking, once you said him Batman, I was like, holy shit, Michael Keaton. Could he be? I'm thinking about Birdman. I'm like, maybe he could.
Even he's good at comedy. Like, you think of Beetlejuice, he knows how to do comedy really well.
He's the right stature. He's like a tinier guy.
But he has a very demanding presence about him. Like, any movie, if you think of the Spider-Man movie he was in, like,
so the Vulture.
he was amazing in that movie.
Yes, he is. He's like awesome. He made the Vulture interesting, which is something that's not easy to do, even being a big Spider-Man fan. I can assure you. Quentin Tarantino remake. Oh God, no. Please no.
So Samuel L. Jackson will be in it then.
Yes, he will. Yeah, he would have to be.
I mean, I'd be okay with Sam Jackson being in it anyway.
Missy Leger writes, Kristen Wiig could be in the new Clue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I could see her being in that.
She would do good. Even someone like Maya Rudolph.
Yes, I love Maya too. I love them both.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maya, Kristen Wiig would be good. Who else? I'm trying to think. It's weird because
Oh,
when I think about, I instantaneously think about SNL alumni.
I just no. Well, it Maya Wig reminded me of what's her name? The one who's married to Dax Shepard. Kristen Bell. Kristen Bell, is that her name?
I don't
She's on the Good Place.
I don't watch TV.
You clearly don't watch any MCU stuff. I got that from one of your previous videos.
Hey! I watch MCU stuff. I just don't watch all of it. There's so much of it. I can't keep up. Amy Poehler, yeah, that would work.
Yeah. If I wanted to anger the internet, I would say Chris Pratt. But then the internet would just get angry.
The internet would get very angry. Will Ferrell, too, the internet might get angry. Although I could see Ferrell being one of them. Ferrell in the role of, I can't remember what character he was, but the Christopher Lloyd character.
Yeah, Professor Plum.
Professor Plum, I can see that.
Yeah, just slightly creepy. You get the idea that he's probably not a really good doctor.
Yes, well, exactly. It's like every role he ever plays. He's not a good anchor man. He's not a good this or good like. It's just him. Typecast. All right, cool. So we have a semi good cast. I guess we could reboot it. We could do it up. Deborah Hill actually is an executive producer on this, which I found interesting too.
Yeah.
Because
Halloween,
exactly. That's where the name. I was like, holy shit, that's the same Deborah Hill from Halloween, and then it was. I was surprised. She's done.
Yeah, she did a lot of movies back in the day.
She did. She did do a lot of movies. It's weird too because like it's just one of those names that just jumps out at you like, holy shit, it's Deborah Hill from Halloween. I think it's because the intro credits of Halloween are so iconic.
Yeah. Like anytime I see her name come up on a movie, that's exactly what I see. Is I can see from that Halloween intro where it says produced by Deborah Hill.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like the orange on black.
Yeah.
It's so iconic.
Freddy Krueger's still better.
I'll agree to that. Okay, I'm not gonna disagree. Freddy Krueger is the second coolest serial killer out there.
That's where we will agree to disagree.
You know I'm a Jason fan. The mask is up there somewhere, so you can kind of barely see it there.
I have no issues with Jason, none at all. Jason Voorhees and his mother are great serial killers.
It's a good family. It's a good wholesome family. Okay, I'll give you this about Freddy though. Freddy is more entertaining.
Yes.
Because he talks and he does all this shit right in spiel. Brings you to Nightmare and then, like don't get me wrong, I've literally seen Nightmare on Elm Street 4 like at least 40 times. Like I've watched them repeatedly. Even part 2. So did you see on Facebook, the Facebook group, there's actually somebody selling a one-sheet Nightmare on Elm Street 2 poster in our city.
Really?
Yeah.
I used to have one.
It's my favorite poster. It's weird because I always said the only good thing about Nightmare on Elm Street 2 was the poster. It's my favorite poster of Nightmare on Elm Street. Like not the shitty one that's on a VHS tape there. The actual one when he's looking in the mirror, you see the reflection and all that. And this guy has it, but it's like it has a lot of water damage on it. So like the bottom of it's kind of like wobbled up. I would have bought it. I would have put it next to my Jaws one. Well,
I might still have it. I had Nightmare 1, 2, 4, and 5, I want to say. I had the posters for those. I don't know if I still have them. I should check one of these days. But yeah, I had those. I also had I had the Friday, the first one, just the regular one. But then it was like
this one here?
Painting.
My little puzzle?
Yep. But then I had one that was done up like an old 1950s painting,
Okay.
and it was landscape, so it wasn't portrait, it was
Yeah.
landscape. Really nice poster.
Where are they now?
I don't know.
I think you should put them up in that room right there. They should
Probably
be there.
should.
They should be there on those walls. Don't surprise your wife. I'm sure she'll love it. Just put them up right there on those walls,
Oh,
or in the kitchen, or in the
this room
bedroom.
is okay. This is where I work, so she wouldn't care.
Okay, no, then don't put them there. No, they wouldn't go there. No, I don't like. No, the feng shui is not good. In the bedroom, the bathroom.
I think the living room's a good place because bathroom you're gonna get water damage.
Yeah, it's true. You shouldn't have them in the bathroom unless you have them framed like an airtight frame. But other than that, yeah. Hot Blooded says, "I love hearing you boys say the name Jason." Ah, it's our favorite man name. We love Jason.
Do you though?
I love Jason. Jason's a good guy. I don't
I
know who
prefer Krieger.
huh?
I prefer Krieger.
Krieger. Yeah, Krieger too. Krieger also is. Well, they're the same person, right? At the end of the day,
Pretty much.
one is the other.
I've never seen them both in the same place at the same time.
It's true. It's true. So yeah, we're not saying you're the same person, but we haven't seen you in the same area at the same time.
Can you prove that you're not?
Can you prove you are not Krieger as much as we can prove that you are Krieger? So you watching any? So we're talking since we're talking about animated series. Watching any good comedic animated series lately?
I've been actually watching a lot of old South Park
Yes.
just because that's a good go-to. We went through all the, Bob's Burgers, as I know you did,
Yes.
which is amazing.
I watched from was it October? From like beginning October to end of October. I never watched an episode before. Never watched Bob Burgers. When my buddy says you have to watch it, I'm like, I had to watch every single animated series that was funny, that I thought was funny, that was out there. So I was like, okay, I got to do something new. So I started watching it, and I literally watched the entire series within a month. So all seasons, all of it, all done. Up to date right now. Last episode, I think, was a Christmas episode this season. Done that one. But yeah, the show is like, it's so good. Like I can see what's been on for so long. And there's a movie coming out. The trailer just dropped yesterday.
I didn't see the trailer yet.
I haven't watched the trailer.
but
I've seen it drop, but I haven't watched it yet. And my kids love to watch it too. I let them watch it. They like it.
And I aim to be like Gene when I'm older.
But he's younger. Uh-oh, you froze. Are you gonna come back? Oh, there you are. You froze for a second.
Did I, or did I stop moving?
Holy fuck. Have you watched what's the name of that show? Rick and Marty? I'm just kidding.
Rick and Morty.
I'm just kidding. I'm gonna sound like a dad there for a sec. The other show that he does, not Rick and Morty.
Solar Opposites. Yes.
Opposites.
I don't know if I've watched them all, but I really enjoy that one.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. I enjoy that show too. I can't wait for the next season.
It's very off the wall. Like,
yes.
If you compare it to something like Bob's Burger, which everything's weird but still makes sense, with Solar Opposites, there's just nothing that makes sense.
Yeah, and I like the intrigue of trying to figure out what that creature is that they have, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, no, I find it's. I mean, the voice is. I mean, it's basically you feel if you close your eyes, you think you're watching Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
because the voices are the same, right? But yeah, no, it's like I was. I mean, I hadn't heard of the show. I've watched Rick and Morty, and I'm like, I saw that Justin Roiland had done this. I'm like, all right, I'll watch it. I'm like, holy shit, this is really good. Like, why isn't
Yeah.
this getting the same type of attention?
It's amazing too how many characters he can do, even though he can't do voices. Like
Yes.
he only has one voice that he just does over and over again, but it works for some reason.
Yeah. Well, it's become iconic now. Like, yeah. Well, it's kind of like Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill, always,
Yeah,
like when he plays the Joker, or like anything he plays that's slightly villainous sounds like the Joker.
yeah, like Skeletor.
Like exactly like Skeletor. It sounds like the Joker. So yeah, it's acceptable, I guess. If you have a cool voice, it works.
Like like they do from Archer and Bob's Burger.
Yes, yes. Like that too. When I first heard Bob, I'm like, where have I heard this voice? I could not figure it out. But I had watched like the first like 4 seasons of Archer, so I'm like, I know this voice. I know this voice. I know this voice. And then I went online and I went on the Google, and the Google told me it was the same person. So
He's also in Wet Hot American Summer.
I'm getting a huggy. Oh,
Aw.
oh, you have a good night, okay? All right. Take care now. Bye bye. All right. Bye. Have fun. Oh no, the other one's coming now. I mean,
Don't tell her you said that.
what? No.
Don't tell her you said
No.
that.
I hope she's not watching. Oh, shoot. All right. I actually figure right. Have you guys watch Rick and Morty? Yes. We love Rick and Morty. Hot-blooded Rick and Morty's awesome. Hot-blooded Solar Opposites is awesome. Also, see, he gets it. I should figure. I turn myself into Pickle Morty Boom. I'm a pickle. Pickle Rick.
I got a Pickle Rick Christmas ornament for my brother this year.
Oh, did you? Nice. Yeah, I like Pickle Rick. It's weird though, because I had heard of Pickle Rick a long time before I actually saw Pickle Rick. Because I was late to the party to watch Rick and Morty. So their merch was already out. Like, people were talking about this thing. And I was like, what the fuck is Pickle Rick? But yeah.
It makes a little, well, it still doesn't make sense, but it makes a little more sense after you see it.
Yes, it does. All right, here we go. Hi. Okay. You want a hug? Oh my god. This is why you need locks on your doors. This is, oh, get another hug. Oh, the love. Lovey, lovey, lovey. Ooh. More love. Come give me love too. What's that? That's you.
No, who's that?
That's Steven. Steven likes love too. Look, he's waving. He's saying hi. Alright. Alright, bye. Have a good night.
What is that?
That's a scale. It's not for drugs though, it's for packages. Bye.
Good thing you clarified that.
Well, I had to, because I knew what people were going to think. So where's cocaine? For drugs. Drugs are bad, okay?
We are talking about the 80s.
It's true. It's in my veins. Mwah. Good night. Just being super cute right now. I got to do these more often. Usually I don't get this kind of treatment.
Because I'm here.
Well, it's what it is, right? They were like, oh my god, Steven's on there. Let's go check him out. All right. We're going to start wrapping this up soon. So, any parting thoughts on the movie Clue, my friend?
I think if you haven't given it a shot, to anyone watching this, it's definitely something. If you like comedy, if you like murder mystery, if you like just good movies, if you like, I don't know what else is in the movie, a big house.
If you like people, vroom vrooms,
give it a
it's
try.
for you. Big mansions.
What do you have to waste? It's 90 minutes of your life.
And that's with the 3 endings.
Exactly.
Which
You're getting 3 for the price of 1.
true.
How many endings were in Dark Knight of the Scarecrow? Just 1.
One. Just one. It was a great one, though, but just one. I want to tell Megan you said that. Lucky she's not out in the chat right now, man. She would be mad at you. All right, so we're going to wrap this up, guys. It's been fun. Remember to leave a like on your way out. Hopefully, we'll be back next week with another movie review. I'm not sure, but we'll see, hopefully. I will be getting a new headset as well. I ordered it because this headset is crap. So, yeah, you'll be hearing me a lot. Hopefully, you'll be hearing my voice a lot more sensually in the future. So, Steven, thanks a million for joining us. It's been great to have you. I will have you back on, maybe for Back to the Future. It'd be great to talk about how this person tried to have sex with his mom. Very
Or how he hangs around with a 60-something-year-old man who kind of creepy if you think about it.
Oh, if you saw him in the Clue movie, yes, he is a bit creepy.
There's more going on to Back to the Future than what you really thought.
There's a shit ton going on in that movie, man. Like a shit ton. So yeah, so we'll have.
Plus, it has Crispin Glover.
I love Crispin Glover. I love him. And that's see right there. That's the reason why right there Friday 13th is superior to Nightmare on Elm Street. Just for Crispin's dance. That's all you needed. That's all you needed. Part 4.
That is my favorite Friday the 13th movie.
Friday 13th.
Without question.
Oh yeah, it's not my favorite personally, but it's top 3 for sure.
Oh, it's
an amazing scene. The whole movie's good, but
I just really enjoy that movie so much. It's peak 1980s horror.
Yes.
Every other horror movie you've ever seen in the 80s is ripping off this movie.
Well, you see, we were talking about like renting cassettes and all that, like earlier videos, and they only came out like later on, like years later. My uncle was in the army, and he was stationed out west, and he actually got a bunch of movies from a convenience store was closing down.
Oh, nice!
So he brought them back and then gave them to my mom. So there were he gave 2 movies to my mom out of the ones that he had that he didn't want. So he got a bunch and he gave us 2. The 2 that he gave us, which are the 2 that I watched the most during the K, because like we didn't have movies, I had to rent them, so we just watched what he had. But he had the original, they're in beta too, which will make them even rarer today. I had Friday 13 Part 4, which is that one there with Crispin, and Poltergeist 2.
Oh.
So there are 2 movies that I watched numerous times, just because I had the beta, which was kind of cool.
Poltergeist Part 2 had that old creepy guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Henry Kane. Yeah, that was the first time that he appeared. He appeared after the 3rd one too. It wasn't the same actor though. He had died. That's also the there was who was it? There was a rock group that had him. Was it Anthrax, Amongst the Living?
Among the Living was Anthrax, yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's the picture, like in this.
I picture it in my head.
Yeah,
but that wouldn't surprise me because
yeah.
Scott Ian is a huge horror fan.
Yeah, they had it. You check the cover of the album, you'll see what I mean. Like he's on there. It's him, which is kind of cool. I can't remember what his name is.
If ever, I'll even offer this to you, Kevin. If ever you want to talk about Nightmare on Elm Street, I can even tell you about the story of how I pretty much blackmailed my mother into letting me watch Nightmare on Elm Street 5 when I was 5 years old.
All right, we'll talk about Elm Street then. We'll have you back on to talk about Nightmare on Elm Street 5, which I talk about my uncle from the army. He was down when Nightmare on Elm Street 5 was out. He brought us to the theater to see it, and I'll always remember because there was like 4 like kids behind us, and this just kind of shows, because that was 89, I think that came out.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. So I remember, and it shows signs of the times. There's like 4 kids just there in back of them, no parents, and you're like, "Hey, can we say we're with you so we can get in?" And then my uncle's like, "Fuck yeah! Like, come on, more the merrier." It's just like you wouldn't see that shit today. Well, like, but yeah, back then it was just, yeah, you could just claim anyone was your parent. Nobody would ask any differently.
Good old days.
Yeah, it's a memory I have. about seeing that movie. All right, so we're gonna end this, guys. Thanks a million for watching. Remember to leave a like, leave a comment as well, share with a friend, and we will be back at a future date. So, from me and Steven, have a good one. Later.